You are listening to Peak One Sports.
All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of the Sports Page. I'm actually flying solo this week. Guys are taking some well-needed vacation time, spending time with their families, and enjoying the summertime and the kids. Well, for Ashton anyway. But yeah. But I think we've got... I suppose we can use the other logo here, huh? Got plenty to talk about this week, and I definitely didn't want to skip an episode just because it was me kind of on my own this week. But if anybody ever, watching or anything wants to chime in on some of these opinions that I got, feel free. We can discuss it a little bit. NBA finals are on our topic list, as well as we'll touch on the Stanley Cup just a little bit, but leave that mostly for our other podcast on Thursdays, Shut the Puck Up, with Kenny and Adam. We'll get into the Rangers and their injuries. Then we're going to talk Olympics. It's my big topic for today. I'm excited. I really love the Olympics. But before we get into all of that, make sure to shout out our sponsors and partners. Starting with Betalytics. Don't bet with your gut. Use the Betalytics dashboards, allowing you to quickly identify the top-graded, best bets, and hottest bets. Man, I messed up here. I don't even know what's going on. I guess I'm just a little nervous today doing this all solo, but that's fine. Betalytics uses AI machines to learn algorithms to create accurate game simulations, player prop projections, betting line evaluations, and best bet recommendations. Visit Betalytics.com and use promo code PEAK1 for 25% off when you sign up today. Man, I feel like I get so close all the damn time. I'm always like just one pick off on these like 5 and 6 leg parlays. I'm just always so damn close. And I need to break down and sign up for Betalytics and just stop betting with my gut. That's really what it is. So I'm the foolish one, I guess. All right. I am actually a little tired this week, so we're going to go ahead and shout out our W partnership here. Looking for a superior energy drink to replace those inferior caffeinated beverages? W contains 0 maltodextrin, 0 fillers, 0 artificial colors or dyes, and 0 proprietary blends. It's the coffee fruit extract that's the star of this beverage, helping you focus and energize without the jitters or crash. Order W today using code PEAK1 and receive 10% off your entire order. I'm not like huge on like promoting drinks or anything like that, but I actually really like this W. I drink it like I have like one every day or something. But I'm not a coffee drinker either. But I don't know, it's kind of cool that I like still can kind of say like I get a little coffee in every day with the whole W coffee fruit extract kind of shining there. But let's see. All right, finally shouting out Dapper Dog Academy. Say goodbye to unruly behavior and hello to a well-mannered pup. Owner trainer Corey Bennett has nearly 10 years experience helping your canine companions become the best versions of themselves. With personalized training programs tailored to fit your pup's unique personality and needs, Corey's committed to helping your best friend reach their full potential. Contact Corey and the Dapper Dog Academy on Facebook and schedule your consultation today. We've been working with Ashton's puppers here. He's actually staying with us while Ashton's on vacation with the family, so he's a good boy. I like him. If you're watching or whatever, I was talking to Corey about maybe we can try and socialize him a little bit tomorrow and send a video. We'll see what happens. I don't know how completely busy her day is tomorrow either. So, all right, kind of the first things I want to get into. There is some sad news among the baseball world, and for those of us here in Fort Worth, it's twofold. Kind of first want to shout out the now late great Willie Mays. Passed away yesterday at age 93. one of the greatest baseball players, the Say Hey Kid, 24-time All-Star. I'm just shouting out some stats here. Lifetime 301 batting average, over 3,200 hits, over 660 home runs, over 1,900 RBIs, over 300 stolen bases, over 2,000 runs, in 2,062 games played. I mean, it's a pretty incredible career. I also thought it was interesting. I was just looking up some of these stats and everything, but his final game was actually I couldn't find if they won or lost, but his final game was in the '73 World Series, which I think is a pretty dynamite way to retire, win or lose. Making it to the World Series as your kind of send off. Like you got to play the full season, man. You didn't win or lose, but yeah, one of the greatest to do it. Five-tool player. I was honestly like just kind of thinking about this and looking over it, and I was like, man, for a kid like born in Alabama and kind of getting his start in the Negro Leagues. He actually started in, if I remember correctly, it was 48 with a minor Negro League team, and then he moved up to the Negro Leagues later that year. And actually, I can't remember the team now, but I think it's the Black Barons or something, and he helped take them to the World Series. They lost, but I mean that's a pretty dynamite rookie season in major or Negro League. I don't really care what league we're talking about. That's a crazy come up to go, minor league into the major league that same year and help take your team to the World Series. Unfortunate that they didn't win. It was a 4-1 loss in that 48 Negro League World Series, but then I guess he was scouted a bunch by a number of teams that wanted him, including like the Yankees and stuff. Unfortunately, he still had to graduate high school, so he wasn't drafted until 51, I believe, or 52, where he was drafted by the New York Baseball Giants. Kenny, I'm sure you love that. And then, had a career with a few teams, I believe. But yeah, just an incredible player. Really just oh, I know, right? And that was one of the things I was reading about that like made him so popular was it wasn't just his on-field stuff, but it was his off-field stuff too. But he knew how to like make the game a little entertaining. So he made basket catches and things like that, those over-the-shoulder catch, and just very 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 popular player among all baseball fans, especially during a very racially tensious I don't know if that's a word time, but yeah, shout out Willie Mays, RIP, will be missed definitely. Some of the biggest baseball fans, I think, definitely gonna be missing that guy, but man, just an incredible player. And then the to hit home just a little bit more here in Fort Worth, I actually think this is really cool, but well, I don't think this part's cool. We'll just dive into it. LaGrave Field, where the Fort Worth Cats have played baseball since 1911. The stadium is finally going to be demolished. But in my kind of experience, and I was going to talk about this more with like Ashton and stuff, I know he's got some fond memories there with his dad and things like that. But for a lot of us here locally, LaGrave Field was just like an awesome way to watch America's pastime at like a much more affordable rate than the Rangers games. Not to even necessarily say that like Rangers games are necessarily all that expensive, but the Cats games were just I don't know, man. It had just a great like home feel to it. I've got a number of memories of going to some games in high school and stuff when the team had first come back here to Fort Worth in 2001. I'm going to dive into some of the history here in just a second. Um, but I had friends and stuff that would work the concession stand through the cross country coach at Haltom High School, and that's how they made a little extra cash on the side. Um, the history of the stadium. Honestly, my biggest memory there is the 4th of July fireworks. I remember going out uh, either to LaGrave Field or near LaGrave and watching the fireworks show. And it was just always a really good time, family and friends and whatever. And it was relatively nearby. One of the better fireworks shows and everything. And honestly, that's probably the thing I miss the most about it. I feel like I've said that for a few years too. When 4th of July rolls around, like I miss going to LaGrave and watching the fireworks there. But just to shout out some baseball here, right? So LaGrave Field, the local baseball field here to the Fort Worth Cats, originally called the Fort Worth Panthers / Cats from 1926 to 1958. That team or this field actually replaced Panther Park from their ballpark that they were using from 1911 to when it was built in 1926, which was named for their owner, Paul LaGrave. The Cats won a number of Texas League championships in the 20s, several league titles through the 30s and 40s. They weren't really the greatest after that, but still, just a good local baseball team. Oh man, dumb sports, absolutely. That was one of my favorite fields. I mean, especially if you're a local here in Fort Worth, I feel like a lot of people know and have memories there. It was a great little minor league, independent league park. It was damaged by some fire and floods in the 49 season, quickly repaired for the 1950 season. The baseball team left in 1965, unfortunately, but the ball field remained. It wasn't until 2001 that they finally rebuilt the stadium. It was actually the first baseball stadium to have 4 dugouts. They renovated the original dugouts into dugout suites and then put the dugouts right next to them, I believe. So they had this 4 dugout kind of system. They were the first ones to do that. They also kept home plate in the same spot, which I think is just kind of a cool, fun fact. The field is right next to Trinity River and everything. That's where the flooding issue kind of happened to be an issue. But it was, I guess that stadium was actually meant to be temporary, which surprises me because I'm sure the renovations cost plenty to fix up that stadium and everything. But I just happened to be reading and I found this out. But I guess LaGrave Field was, or the rebuild of LaGrave Field in 2001 was meant to be temporary, but the plans for the $8 million stadium that they had never happened due to soil contamination and water pollution at the construction site, or the site of the build where they were planning on building this new stadium for the Cats. But honestly, the thing I thought was the coolest, and I'm sure plenty of people have plenty of memories of seeing plenty of players come through LaGrave Field, but there are nearly 50 members of the Baseball Hall of Fame that have played at LaGrave Field. I just wrote down probably some of the more well-known names, but Willie Mays among them. Also, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, Jackie Robinson, Pee Wee Reese, Rogers Hornsby, Yogi Berra, Joe DiMaggio. I mean, there's so much history and everything. And I don't know, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that don't necessarily dig history as much as I do. But the literal thought of the fact that because home plate is exactly where it's always been. You can literally stand where these Hall of Famers have stood. You know, like you can get into the box and you can put your feet where those players have actually been. Oh, I know, right? And this is just 10 players, I think, that I happen to write down that were like the more well-known players. There were plenty more on that list. And I don't know. I'm that kind of guy, I guess. Like I really dig history and the thought of being able to, like, you know, even not necessarily being able to like stand in their place in the box in front, at home plate and everything. Um, even just to be able to like kind of be behind home plate and like that close to where they've actually been and everything. Like, I don't know, that touches me a little bit, and I think about like that history and stuff too when I'm in, um, hallowed ground. There's plenty of battle places and whatever all over the country that you can see and that kind of thing. But this one's just very, very local and a lot of great history at that ballpark. And I mean, I know personally, I missed the park. I missed the games. I missed the fireworks. So lot of great memories there. Sad day here in Fort Worth. To be honest, I was always kind of hoping maybe they would turn it into, I don't know, like some kind of little league park or something. Figure out a way to renovate it and get it going again. But I mean, I understand it's a high cost kind of burden, and it's definitely been abandoned for I think it's like 10 years now this year. It's definitely not in good shape. It hasn't had like any upkeep on it. It's been vandalized and damaged and things like that over the years. So just yeah, that, I mean, for Fort Worth people, it hits home. I mean, a lot of memories. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess it was kind of crazy too when I'd kind of broke the news to Ashton and Kenny and in our little group chat that Willie Mays had passed, or the news of Willie Mays had passed. And Ashton immediately was like, "Oh, I remember, like, he had played at LaGrave Field at some point." And I was like, "Man, like, just it's kind of crazy how like history and that stuff can kind of connect and bring you closer to it and that kind of thing." So sad day for baseball, especially here locally in Fort Worth. But yeah, if you guys happen to be local and have any memories or anything of the of LaGrave Field and your experiences there, feel free to share them in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and everything. But yeah, so let's move on to some. Well, you know what? I'm going to keep it sad-ish for us locally, I guess, and we'll jump into these NBA finals. Mavs dropped Game 5 to the Celtics. In all honesty, I don't want to say I'm surprised, mostly because their performance in Game 4 I thought was so heavy and dominant, more or less, that I actually thought, if the Mavs were able to take Game 5, I genuinely thought if the Mavs were going to win Game 5, then we were going to end up in a Game 7 situation. I was also worried, though. I was hanging out with my buddy Kevin, and we were kind of talking about the Mavs, and he kind of agreed with me that if the Mavs managed to win Game 5, there was going to be a Game 7. But I told him just before the game started that I was genuinely concerned that the Celtics had kind of throttled off for Game 4 and weren't worried about dropping Game 4 and were like ready to throttle back down. I hate that strategy in sports in general. I don't care if you're playing rec league softball or NBA finals basketball. I'm definitely one. I would rather throttle my opponents than let up at all. And I was genuinely concerned that this was going to be a 4-0 sweep by the Celtics. Coming into this series and everything, though, I mean, the Celtics had such an easier road to the finals compared to the Mavericks. The Mavericks, played 6 and 7 game series. Just had to play more basketball than the Celtics did to get to the road. And I mean, somebody remind me if I'm getting this wrong, but like what the Celtics beat like the Heat, the Cavaliers, and the Pacers, I think, to make it to the finals. Dallas just had a much harder road going through Oklahoma and it was Minnesota, and it was the Clippers first. So I mean, it was just, in all honesty, I wish this series would have looked better for the Mavericks, but like, let's talk a few numbers here. Luka led the playoffs in points, assists, and rebounds. I want to say he led his team in points, assists, and rebounds through the entire playoffs, which has never really happened before. He's almost averaging a triple-double a game. And to be honest, I think with his youth and everything, Luka's only 25 years old. He's only been in the league for 5 seasons. I genuinely think that with Luka and everything, the Mavs are in a great position. What I think is going to be really important here is how Luka responds during the off season to like this finals loss. I think that Luka is more than talented and everything to play in this league and everything. The ultimate question is going to finally be like, can he get a championship? I think he's capable of doing that, but he's got to shake off some of this youth stuff he's got going for him. I don't know if any of y'all happen to catch this, but there was I don't want to call it a highlight, probably call it a low light, to be honest, but some fan was heckling him a little bit, and he said something to the effect of like, yeah, and your mom's a hoe, or something like that. And I'm like, sick burn, bro. Like, way to go straight for moms. But like, at the same time, like, I think that shows like some of his youth and stuff. And a more seasoned veteran, I'd like to think, would just shake that kind of thing off more. And like, I don't know, ignore the haters. I don't know how to really phrase it, but I mean, I really like the. Sorry, I'm trying to read Kenny's comment here at the same time. Mavs win it all next year. Luka can be a monster next year. Honestly, I agree. I love a player like Luka taking that kind of responsibility, in the sense that, like, building on what I'm saying here, right? It makes me feel like he's ready to, I don't want to say double down, but just like really take this offseason seriously and use it as a prime time to not just heal and get his body right, which is what offseason is for, but it's also for doing some of that strength and conditioning and getting yourself like ready for the next season. And I'd like to think that maybe he takes a chunk of time here initially to just get his body fresh and healed, and while he still gets in like some light workouts and things like that, and they can do tape and things like that, and they can talk about like the things that he could do better. And I mean, what's crazy is I don't necessarily think there's a whole lot to tell him on offense. I mean, he's playing pretty phenomenally on offense to be averaging what he's averaging a game, almost triple double and everything. Take the next steps. Thank you, Kenny. See, yeah, it, like that. I guess that is what it is, right? He, like, it seems like he's probably ready to take that next step and commit a little bit more that you kind of see out of like your more seasoned veteran players. And to be honest, it couldn't come at a better time, because I'm going to argue that, I mean, he's been in the league for 5 years now. He's coming out of that youth side of his career, and he's almost going to have to start like taking on a little bit more responsibility, because now he's starting to get into like the realm of seasoned veteran. He's going to come into his 6th season. He's obviously been doing this for a little while. So, I think it'll all really depend on how Luka responds in this offseason. The other thing I wanted to talk about, already mentioned a little bit with Luka. Luka's only 25. Then PJ Washington, also 25, and Lively is 20. We've got some great youth on this team. I genuinely think that there's a real chance for the Mavs to try and make another like deep playoff run next year, with a lot of these players still on the roster. We'll see how that all shakes out, throughout the offseason and into the start of next season. But 3 of our top 5 players for the Mavericks are young, 25 and under. And I think that's a really good position for the Mavericks to be in, headed into, not just next season, but the future. And especially with a player like Luka, that caliber of player. So honestly, I look forward to it. I'm definitely disappointed that the series didn't go better for the Mavericks, but I mean, honestly, I like to throw out the numbers here, the stats and everything. The Celtics shot 43%, 33% from 3-point. The main thing I think that really killed the Mavericks, I got 3. Turnovers were a massive problem for the Mavericks. They had 13 in that game 5. Luka lacked a little bit on defense, I think. I'm not sure if it was because his body was just kind of at the end of its health or whatever. But I don't know. It felt like the Mavs were lacking in defense kind of that whole series. But I feel like it's worth saying, too, I could not find the graphic that I had that showed this, so I'm kind of trying to remember as best as I can. But the Celtics were like number 1 in scoring. They were like number 1 in defense. They were number 1 in a ton of categories, not just like in the league, but like in league history. They were the best in like a dozen categories. I shared it with the boys. I swear I had the graphic in my phone and I can't find it now. I was really mad. I spent a couple hours trying to like re-find it, but this Celtics team, in my personal opinion, whether they won these finals or not, this Celtics team was going to be talked about for a long time, because the numbers, just by their sheer stats and numbers alone, this was a historic team. They were amazing, and I mean, they showed that in the finals as much as they showed it throughout the playoffs. So hard to beat a team that's shooting, like 40+%, and making at least 33% of their threes. I've said it before. I feel like it always sounds like, or seems like a really dumb thing to say, but obviously if you're not making baskets, you're not going to win basketball games. It's basic math. And the Mavericks were just like definitely not making their shots throughout the series. They were having a really tough time knocking down their shots. So, I mean, I agree. I'm not going to say it, but I'll put it up. But yeah, just as a little side topic to kind of throw out there, I mentioned this to my buddy when we were hanging out the other day watching Game 5. Anybody happen to catch the Texas A&M fans getting kicked out of the College World Series? And the main reason I kind of want to bring this up is kind of just because like we're talking about like Boston and Philadelphia and different fans and stuff. And so the way I understand the story, Texas A&M was playing Florida in the College World Series. There were a couple of A&M fans like wearing A&M polos. One looked young enough to probably even be a student or something. But they were hanging over the railing, like yelling into the bullpen and just talking trash to Florida's bullpen, which normally I don't have like a huge issue with. It really just depends on how you're like attacking and what you're saying, like the words, I guess, that you're choosing to use. And these guys were absolutely unacceptable. I'm not sure if it was a player or like a player's brother, but someone kind of related to the team had passed away like very recently, and they were yelling obscenities about that at the Florida players. And it was, I mean, it was apparently bad enough that security stepped in and escorted them out. But just talking about like kind of trash talking in general, Boston fans, Philadelphia fans, they are outrageous. They get carried. So New York too, to be honest. There are plenty of New York fans, and they get like really, really into it. Uh, yeah. See, this is what I'm saying, right? Like this kind of stuff, I'm totally fine with that kind of thing, right? There's even a guy on TikTok that I've seen that does like very creative insults and stuff that he yells at like outfielders, things like that. And I'm totally for that. If you can keep it PG-13, I actually think those are some of the best burns. But when you've got to do all the cussing and making things like, I don't know, super personal and whatever, it's just, I don't know. I feel like there's a line. And I know here at the ballpark in Arlington, as long as you keep your insults PG-13 and you're not like cussing and stuff, they'll let you heckle the bullpen. But it's within reason. But I also know I've talked to friends and fans of other teams and things like that, especially up in the Northeast, Philadelphia, Boston, and that kind of thing, and they let them heckle up there 100% whatever they want. Just go get them. And I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that. Oh man, is cheese on pretzels not acceptable? I love cheese on my pretzels. That's a pretty good one too, though. That's not bad. I'm honestly off the top of my head, I can't remember some of the ones I've seen or heard on TikTok or whatever by the guy that I'm talking about, but his are usually pretty. I mean, they're very PG-13, and I mean, I enjoy that. Like that's fun to me. And I think if you're clever enough, like those will get into a player's head more than just like slandering them with uh you know curse words and personal insults. I don't know. But yeah, just a personal thought, like I'm not necessarily against like heckling or anything like that, but I mean it's got to be within reason. And I think everybody's trying to have a good time, and everybody's trying to, especially with kids at games and things like that. um like just, I don't know, within reason. um but I don't know, maybe it's just different here in Texas, to be honest. One of the things I've always said about Fort Worth is Fort Worth is probably one of the friendliest places you could ever visit or live. People are usually like pretty nice here. I mean, it's not to say that we don't have like our assholes and stuff too, but I mean, but I've definitely said when I've like visited and lived in other places, people in Fort Worth, man, are just abnormally nice, and I love it, you know. Um, but yeah, so finishing up just the last topic and everything, I think the Mavericks have a great shot at making another deep playoff run. We'll see how Luca responds in this offseason. I've got high hopes. I think he's got more than the uh, ability to lead this team, be the veteran player that they kind of need him and want him to be now, moving forward. So, I honestly, just having seen everything through these playoffs, I actually thought if we were talking about this when the playoffs started, I probably would have picked the Stars to make a deeper run than I would have picked the Mavs to make their finals run, which I personally think speaks volumes about the talent on this Mavericks team. Going from really kind of I think they were a bottom seed, going into the playoffs and making their way through, and especially considering that the Stars were like number 2 in the NHL, number 1 in the West. They played and beat the 2 previous champions leading up to the Western Conference Finals. I definitely thought the Stars would have made it further than the Mavericks, but we'll see what happens with the Stars as well. Yeah. So kind of talking Stars, we'll touch on the Stanley Cup Finals just a little bit. I'm going to leave the bulk of it really for Kenny and Adam tomorrow on Shut the Puck Up. Tune into that and like and subscribe. But shout out to Edmonton for extending the series. I didn't watch the whole game last night. I was flipping back and forth between Olympic trials and the Stanley Cup Finals, but just Edmonton, really kind of hitting another gear and putting it on Florida. Florida definitely tried to make it a game till the end. No, absolutely. Just catching the highlights and everything that I've seen so far. McDavid went overtime. He hit overdrive for that game and absolutely elevated the Oilers through that game 5. So I was honestly thinking Florida was ready to shut it out. I thought it was going to be done after that 5. So 8 points in 2 games. I mean, it's impressive. He's definitely been on. The one thing I did want to talk about, shout out to Kenny, help me out here because I was having trouble finding the name of the player, but the Florida player who stopped that open netter, he dove for it, knocked it out at the last second. Incredible play, crazy, amazing effort. I don't think I've ever really seen anything like it. I feel bad that I couldn't, for some reason, I just couldn't find his. Oh man, I don't even know how to say that name. Matty Tkachuk. But incredible play, man. What an effort. By him to stop that one. Really helped try and keep Florida in it. Unfortunately, didn't go Florida's way. I don't think any hockey fans are really that disappointed. It was a good game. So, but Kenny and Adam will get more into all of that in the Stanley Cup's finals tomorrow. So check them out. I was just checking the Rangers score. They are on a 6-game losing streak, I think. 5-game losing streak. As they're working to finish up the Mets right now, I believe. Oh, wait. It might be over. All right. So the Rangers actually broke their 5-game losing streak now, having just beat the Mets. Really getting beat up. The Rangers have been lately. But the silver lining is getting more and more silver. I don't know how to make this sound cool, but things are actually starting to look Tkachuk. Okay. My bad, Maddie. I feel bad. I'm not a big enough hockey fan, but yeah, Matty Tkachuk, great play. But yeah, so Rangers now 34-40. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick and catch there. Oh, okay. we're tied for third right now, 9.5 games back of Seattle. So starting to get a little out of hand, but luckily the Rangers have a number of players getting ready to finally come back, mostly in our pitching, which, to be honest, I don't necessarily think is the Rangers' biggest issue right now. It's our hitting. We need to get more hits. We need to score more runs. Our pitching has been, I don't even want to say necessarily all that great, because we've definitely had games where we've given up a lot of runs. And I mean, we're just not scoring runs is what I feel like is our biggest issue. As much as we've had games where we're giving up, like 11 or 15 runs, if we can just get our bats going a little bit. But shout out to these. Most of these are actually injury recoveries. We got Scherzer is set to return on Saturday versus the Royals. So definitely tune in for that. Looking forward to his return. DeGrom threw 15 pitches in a bullpen session on Monday. Sabores had a outing on Sunday for Round Rock, where he allowed 2 runs, 2 hits, a walk. He had a walk and a strikeout. Cody Bradford started playing catch at 120 feet, so he's getting closer to. Tyler Mahle threw a 30 to 40 pitch live live batter practice. Sorry, and then outside of our pitchers here, we got Josh Young started at third and went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. That was also Sunday in Round Rock. So we've got our players definitely like working back. Hopefully a little sooner rather than later. Josh Young is going to be an incredible add back to our lineup. We need the bat. We need the hits. So really looking forward to that. Scherzer's return on Saturday. I think Young is probably still at least probably a week or more out from his return to the Rangers. But Scherzer coming back on Saturday should be helpful. But again, I think our biggest issue is hitting here. Right now, our leader for batting average is Josh Smith. He's batting 298, that's actually up from what I saw the other day, which was 280. But I mean that literally means everyone on the team is batting, less than the 294. So oh yeah, I'll shout back out to this. It really was. It was an incredible effort. The kind of dive forward and everything. It was the desperation play for sure. Honestly, of the level that I feel like you normally only see out of like goalies and stuff, trying to make a diving save, going back the other way or something like that. It was incredible. It was honestly one of the best plays and best efforts I've seen all year, all season. It was a really great play. But yeah, shout out back to the Rangers. 34 and 40, 9.5 games back. We're tied with Houston for second, third, whatever you want to call it. But 9.5 games back of Seattle. So Rangers just need to Coco Crisp the last time you were in Texas. That was a while ago. That was a long time ago. Yeah, I'm honestly off the top of my head. I'm not even thinking of like what year that was, but I want to say Coco Crisp was like earlier 2000s. But anyway, I'm ready to move on to the topic I want to talk about the most tonight. Even though we've talked pretty good about some other topics and everything. Yeah, but the topic I really want to get into tonight, I'm ready to talk about these Olympics. I freaking love the Olympics. Summer Olympics all day. My favorite Olympics. I love it. Um, to be honest, I'm not necessarily trying to knock the Winter Olympics too hard. I like the Winter Olympics too, uh, but 90% of the Winter Olympics, in my opinion, I guess 90% of the Winter Olympics is I can slide down this hill faster than you, and the Summer Olympics are definitely like just more all around athletic, in my opinion. Uh, Based on different categories and things like that. And I also personally think that gymnastics is probably one of the hardest sports, if not one of or if not the hardest sport to compete in, especially at like the Olympic level. Um, See, Olympic hockey, I can get behind, right? But there's just more like better sports in my opinion. Like I was saying, like it feels like 90% of the Winter Olympics is I can slide down this hill faster than you. And then you have like ice skating, figure skating, and Winter Olympic the hockey for Winter Olympics, and like curling, you know. And to be honest, I love curling. Like I'm such an old man when it comes to like Winter Olympics because curling is the one I probably watch the most. And figure skating, ice skating, I appreciate it for its difficulty and everything. Because I mean, for me personally, ice skating's not regular ice skating is not just super easy. So yeah, right. I mean, it's not. I think gymnastics is still harder just because of like all the categories and everything in gymnastics require you to do more than what just figure skating is. But figure skating is pretty damn close to like, I don't want to say basic gymnastics because they're definitely doing like some advanced maneuvers and things. But yeah, but that's why I respect the figure skating in the Winter Olympics. But like most, I don't know, most of it, like the honestly, I don't even know the name of so many of them, but like luge and the downhill skiing and whatever the one is where they like jump the furthest and stuff like that. Just I don't know. So many of the sports in the Winter Olympics are like I can slide down this hill faster than you, and uh, I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate it because I still watch all of it, but I definitely kind of prefer watching the Summer Olympics. And having started, I believe it was Saturday, the U.S. Olympic trials have been on. I've been watching them on Hulu. I believe you can also catch them on Peacock. Um, Shameless plug, I guess. Right? Like we're not getting anything out of that, but yeah, I've been watching that. The only thing really going on right now has been men and women swimming. They also just started the diving competitions Monday, I believe, which I also really enjoy because synchronized diving is difficult. Um, just just like two people getting up there and like flipping and twisting at like the exact same rate of speed to hit the water at the exact same time is just like that one I've got a lot of respect for, just the level of difficulty that I feel like is involved with that, and then to just like sit there and watch them and be like, oh, that wasn't good, fully knowing that there's no way I could do any of those maneuvers. um but yeah, man, watching the diving competitions I think are crazy cool. And honestly, the one that blew me away I was watching the other day, they were jumping from 10 meters, which is like 30, almost 33 feet or something, I think. It's a three-story building that they're like diving off of. They had started off originally with just like a 5 meter diving board, and then I ended up catching them doing a 10 meter platform synchronized diving. And just watching diving in general is kind of cool. It's I think it's fun to watch. um but but then you throw in synchronized diving and I'm like, man, the difficulty in not just doing the dive, but doing the dive at like the same rate of spin, and like, because they even judge them on like how high they jump off the board. They're supposed to do like everything identical, right? So they're supposed to be like side by side perfectly, spinning at the same rate of speed perfectly, um, come out of their flip or spin or whatever it is at like the same time. They're supposed to enter the water at the same time at like the same angle, and they get judged on all of this. And I mean, honestly, it's kind of like my argument for gymnastics, but it's like there's so many like little detail technical things that they're judging these athletes on, and it's almost like overly critical. But I feel like that's what kind of makes it cool, right? Like it's that level of difficulty in not just doing like a good dive, a clean dive, but to do it side by side with a partner at like the same time and everything. It's see, almost 33 feet. That's what I thought. Right. I mean, it's a 3-story building from 10 meters. And I was like, like, I don't know if I could do it. I don't even know if I could just like step off and like into the water. I'd probably be such a chicken about it. So the fact that they're like jumping off and doing, flips and twists and all that is pretty cool. I definitely want to shout out Katie Ledecky. If you haven't been keeping up, this is her 4th Olympics, I believe. She started in 2012. I meant to write this down. I can't remember which Olympics those were, but she made her international debut in the 2012 Olympics, I believe, and has competed ever since. So, this is her 4th Olympics, I believe. 12, 16, 20. Yeah. So, and honestly, I've been saying really since like the last Olympics that no, I did go with y'all. I never actually jumped. I just hung out. I mean, it was Chrissy's thing. So I just went with, hung out, let her do her thing, hung out in the hangar. I don't care. I'd watch y'all jump when y'all like, went up and everything, but I mean, not my thing. You're not going to get me to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. If it's actually going down, I feel like I've said this before. If I was on a plane that was like actually going down, I'd probably be the guy that was like helping everyone else get out and get their shit. And there's a good chance I would probably just go down with the plane. But yeah, not going to get me to jump out of a perfectly good plane. It's just not going to happen. But anyway, back to Katie Ledecky. I've been saying, like, I want to say at least since the last Olympics, like, she's been so much fun to watch, and she's literally been like, it's like watching Michael Phelps, but women's sports and women's swimming, and I mean, she's unreal. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure how many races that she's actually like participating in this Olympics. I do know that she's definitely made it, so look out for that. The track and field events are getting ready to start up on Friday, I believe it is, and I will definitely be checking those out. Shout out Sha'Carri Richardson. She is from Arlington, and honestly, I've been saying to a few people, like I'm really looking forward to seeing her in the trials. I am rooting for her so hard. I want her to blow the doors off of everybody in the competition, just because they kept her out of the last Olympics because of the whole marijuana controversy and things like that. I mean, that whole thing was dumb in my opinion, and it shouldn't have been like that. I personally think she should have been allowed to go. I mean, I don't know. It's also one of those things. Like, it's not a performance enhancer. I don't see what the deal is. Oh yeah, I would share them on here. I didn't really think to like try and transfer the picture and everything, but yeah, Katie Ledecky is a monster. in that 1500 meter. I think that's like her main race too. But what a beast! I lost my train of thought. Well, anyway. Oh, Sha'Carri Richardson. That's what I was talking about. I don't. It seemed really silly to me that they kept her out of the last Olympics and everything. So I hope she kind of comes into this one with like a vengeance and just blows the doors off of everybody and almost makes Team USA anyway kind of regret not taking her to the last Olympics. Plus, I did a lot of track and field when I was in high school and stuff. So that one's kind of near and dear to my heart. I love watching the sprints and the hurdles and all that. I especially love the field events, discus, hammer throw, all that stuff. But yeah, I was actually going to get into this too, but that's a good segue, Kenny. Simone Biles making her Olympic comeback after she had to bow out of the last one. I can't remember the name of the condition that she ended up having, but it was basically it had something to do with like her inner ear and stuff. And so she was having trouble during her routines and during a lot of the flips and stuff that she was doing. She was having trouble like keeping track of where the ground was. And naturally, when you're doing the flips and it wasn't vertigo, it was something else. It was like a much more serious condition than vertigo, and I want to say it had something to do with not just like the fluid in her inner ear, but like the fluid in her head in general or something. To be honest, I could be way off here too. It was a while ago that I had read about this, but because I remember being like a little disappointed that she had kind of left in the middle of competition, and it's like, man, like I hope everything's okay, but it definitely felt kind of like our best shot at gold was kind of walking out. That was unfortunate. And then I remember, I want to say it was like a week later or something. There was a little bit of time there, but it kind of came out that she had this condition or something that was making it difficult for her to kind of orient herself in the air. And as soon as I had heard that and read that, I was like, I don't blame you for backing out then, like I don't think anybody wants you to break your neck out there trying to, compete in floor or something, so super excited that she's coming back. She's an absolute monster, dominant in gymnastics and everything. I've enjoyed watching her since the gymnastics dream team went out there and I think they won silver or something. But Simone's always been a monster, and shout out to her. They actually just announced today that she has a documentary on Netflix that'll be coming out like July sometime. I think it's just before the Olympics. So she's got a documentary kind of about her. I think it takes place from like when she kind of left the last Olympics and her kind of comeback story a little bit in rebuilding and getting back into competing for a spot on this year's team. So, but I'm super excited about that one too. Simone Biles probably one of my favorite Olympians over time. Michael Phelps obviously way up there. Kenny and I were talking about this a little earlier just because yeah, you like that? What's over here? But yeah, Kenny and I were talking a little bit. We were I think we were both deployed in 2008, right, Kenny? And that was the year of the was it Beijing? Yeah, it was Beijing. And I remember being in the hangar seeing the 400 meter relay for a swim. Team USA just going crazy with I think it's like Michael Phelps and Ryan Lochte and those guys. But that was an amazing experience. And okay, yeah. See, I mean, I left in January 2008. We were ready to deploy before Christmas, but our orders didn't come in until January. So But yeah, so similar times. But yeah, catching a number of sports. We were actually kind of talking about catching like the Super Bowl that year, um, the Sir Stanley Cup playoffs, and to be honest, actually in Afghanistan, I watched a lot of cricket to kill time. There wasn't always like live sports. Plus, AFN, man, I don't know if you experienced this too, Kenny, but the AFN, the Armed Forces Network, mostly just ran like reruns, like back to back to back to back. So it was like when the Super Bowl happened, they played that Super Bowl over and over and over again for like 2 weeks. They did the same thing for like the Daytona 500. I remember like that was on forever. Um, well, I mean, Kenny, when you joined the military at 18 years old, I mean, time stacks up. It just yeah, it was the worst part about AFN though was like that. I mean, it was like they picked like one sport event and then they would play it for like a week, 2 weeks. It was crazy. I remember our first sergeant like complaining about the Daytona 500 because it was the only thing that was like on for the longest time. And he was like, "Don't they play anything else? Like, I've seen this thing like 50 times." Like, I mean, so, but I mean, when one of the new sports or something actually happened and came out, it was kind of an event. Uh, we had little cookouts and stuff sometimes, and would catch the games, and always a good time. But anyway, so the last thing I'm going to kind of talk about here with the Olympics is they revealed the USA. Oh my goodness, sorry, I got a hiccup. They revealed the Team USA ceremony uniforms. I got them here. I'm going to try and share them if I can. Let's see if we can get this to happen. Here it is. Okay. All right. So these are the two uniforms. Let's see if I can make that a little bit bigger. See it a little bit better there. I have mixed feelings about these uniforms. To be honest, the opening ceremony uniform is the one on the left. It is I got it written down here. Sorry. Yeah, here it is. Okay, the opening uniform is the one on the left here. It's the navy blue jacket, light blue striped dress shirt, the blue jeans, and suede shoes. You can't really see the shoes in these pictures, but and then the closing ceremony. This is the one I don't know, man. This one gets me a little bit. It's a white moto style jacket and jeans, polo shirt and hat, and then I guess they wear the same belt and shoes. But so I guess from what I understand, like the goal here was to like try and give them a very like Gen X, Gen Z, American feel, which I guess was the main reasoning behind putting the Olympians in jeans, which I think is really funny. I get it, like blue jeans are like American, but I don't know. I guess I think it's kind of funny. I actually kind of like this jacket, this navy blue Ralph Lauren jacket. I mean, it's kind of nice. I feel like you could like keep this. You could wear this to like dinner and stuff. Like that's a pretty nice jacket. The moto jacket and pants. I just like are we riding off on Ninja Kawasaki's or something? Like I don't know, man. I don't get it. And and the crazy, I don't know, because I don't even necessarily think it looks bad. I'm not a fan of like the white jacket and the white pants, like for the whole uniform. It seems a little, but Wells Fargo brought in the first jacket. I mean, it's definitely got like a really, really old school feel to it. Johnny, you like that? You like that one? I mean, I don't know. I don't necessarily think it looks bad. I kind of like the jacket. There's just I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, why are we in a full race uniform for the end of the Summer Olympics? It just classic Olympic look, huh? I mean, I guess I like as I look at it a little more, it does have like a good kind of classic look to it. I don't know. It definitely makes me feel like you're walking out of pit lane or something. I just it's not bad. I don't hate it. I mean I definitely I like the jacket more. I really think it's the pants that's just throwing me. I mean the jacket, you know. But you don't like that. You don't like that dinner jacket. I kind of like that dinner jacket look. Yeah, it is. It is a really good looking jacket. It is. It is. You're kind of talking me into it. Looks hokey. Yeah, that dinner jacket look. I don't know. I think that's funny. I mean, I don't know. I honestly this one makes me laugh a little bit too, just because it definitely feels like a very American way to like dress up, especially here in Texas. Like we're definitely like oh just put on like a nice collared shirt and your best blue jeans. Um, so you got that Miracle on Ice feel for the right, huh? Now that you mention it, yeah, that I guess it does kind of have that look to it. Oh, these blue dinner jackets definitely have like that prep school look to it. I don't know. I kind of like it. To be honest, what I appreciate the kind of the most about both of these is the fact that you get a jacket out of both of them, which I feel like you can use for plenty of stuff. You know what I mean? Uh, I don't know personally. Like I think you're right. The navy blue jacket does have like this prep school look to it, but I also kind of felt like it had a little bit of like a PGA golf jacket uh, feel to it as well, which I kind of like. And in the I can appreciate that like they're already kind of pairing it with blue jeans, so I'm sure you can wear it with plenty. But same thing with this moto jacket. Honestly, as we're kind of talking about it and everything, Johnny, you might have convinced me. I like the jacket. I really think it's the pants that are doing it for me. I can't get over the white pants, I guess. But I mean, I am digging the jacket. But the reusability, I think, for both of these is pretty high. Just being able to wear them and use them again after the Olympics, and considering it's well, don't worry, Johnny, you're not going to the Olympics, so you won't get either. Really, I think that's probably why I think it's the what I think is the coolest about it is that like if you're an Olympian, you don't necessarily go around like wearing your medals around your neck all the time, but you could totally go out like wearing these jackets and like, oh yeah, I was in the 24 Paris Olympics. Like, I mean, I can appreciate the self awareness here that you just recognize. But so to be honest, that's really all I got for this week. I appreciate you guys tuning in and everything. Really looking forward to all these Olympics. Still got I want to say like another 5 days or so of Olympic trials. So if you haven't caught the end of swimming, I think they finished. They might have finished up today. Have some more diving tomorrow. Track and field starts on Friday. Um, so tune in, and kind of learn about some of your favorite athletes getting ready to compete in just a little over a month. I think the Olympics start. This is one of my favorite times. I absolutely love the Olympics. So absolutely, Kenny, USA, USA. So super pumped. Lots and lots of sports and competition coming. Great way to spend a couple of weeks in the summer just cheering on the absolute top best athletes in the world from every country. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So always a good time. All right. Well, I guess that's gonna be it for me. Appreciate you guys tuning in to the sports page this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook and any other social media you want to find us on. Oh, excuse me. And hopefully next week I won't be so alone here. Try and get a few more people in here. Maybe get Kenny in here. Hopefully Ashton and everybody will be back from their vacations. But bye, Johnny. Thanks for being here, buddy. I definitely appreciate you. So as always, I am Dan Boyer, aka Neon Super Shrimp. This has been the Sports Page, and we will catch you guys next week. Thanks again. Bye.